why your ECPMV went down that actually drove more new visits, that drove your NCAC down, was because we took all of this and paused it, and we spiked this ad 50% and brought in 70% more new people. This ad went up 22%, brought in 36% more new people. And if these are the ads on my first click attribution, if these are the ads that will win, these two over here should have a better NCAC. They do, and the top line does. Great. Now these are the targets to beat. My creative team has to analyze these and say, why did this go good? And can you make 3 different variations to beat this so we could double down on this?
So marketing performance indicators, once again, you can get that over at tier11.com/MPI. We're not selling you anything there. It's just like, this is just more of an explanation of what we're talking about here. So make sure that you do grab that. The key with this is double checking with the source of truth.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is all great. How different does this look inside the Facebook ad platform?
Well, you know what's funny is when you say something like, how much different does this look? Facebook will only give you attribution. It will not give us everything else about it. And that's what I'm thinking is important is I know that I got a cost per click, and I know I got like clicks. Like the outbound click, but out of 5,000, I'm like, okay, well, what happened to the 5,000? We actually track a little bit more than they do, and we can tell you how cold or warm that is in here. So I'm like, okay, if my clicks went up, I do not want to see my clicks go up and my new visit rates go down. Like that is DEFCON 1. Like that is horrifying.
Yeah, that's bad news.
If you have a 20-day sales cycle, 3 weeks from now, you're punished for what you just did now. And that is so massively missed by the market is your sales cycle. If it's not 2 days long, you should never look at this every week. Really can't.
Yeah.
It's not baked data yet. If it takes 14 days to sell somebody and you like send out postcards and they just land on like day 2, you're like, where's all my money? Like, no, yeah. It literally just landed. Give it time. You have to take that same consideration into it. But the leading indicators as to, did it land at the right house? Did they open their mailbox? Did they grab your pamphlet and look at it for the first time? That's all that's inside of Wicked that is not inside of Meta.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that's actually happening to say, hang tight, things will get better. Or the reason why your ECPMV went down that actually drove more new visits, that drove your NCAC down, was because we took all of this and paused it, and we spiked this ad 50% and brought in 70% more new people. This ad went up 22%, brought in 36% more new people. And if these are the ads on my first click attribution, if these are the ads that will win, these two over here should have a better NCAC. They do, and the top line does. Great. Now these are the targets to beat. My creative team has to analyze these and say, why did this go good? And can you make 3 different variations to beat this so we could double down on this? Right.
That's the key. So you're giving insights into the creative team. I don't think you're a kind of guy that goes into, Adobe and starts doing like video editing and, image production. And that's for the creative team. And if your company sells stick figure drawings, I can. You can. Yeah, that's it. That's your forte. I don't even know the name of any of the tools that any of our designers actually use because I've never actually done it. I learned everything in marketing up into like video tools. The only thing I know how to use is like Canva. But the point is,
my creativity in my drawing is stopped when the thing that you had to lift over your head and shake, like to remove it. That's where the last time I designed something was.
I actually saw a gallery of those, the Etch-a-Sketches. Yeah. And last time we were in New York, an entire wall in a coffee shop was all Etch-a-Sketches. It was actually, they were really good. So the point is like you can double check versus like my sort of stupid question is what does it look like in Facebook? You can actually see that inside Facebook, inside Wicked, and you can compare. Yeah. And like, all right, so let's compare in-app versus what you're seeing in the real world. Yeah. Maybe for folks, just because we constantly sort of rip on that, maybe not enough, but we will constantly rip on this. And this show is in-app ROAS is very misleading in so many different ways. And why that is, I guess, is sort of the big question, but also maybe just show folks why that is the case here.
So what's funny is the way that I learned these metrics when I didn't have tools like Wicked was using extrapolated benchmarks, and 80% of the time I was correct. So extrapolated benchmarks means I know that's not the right metric, but if it's consistent and if it moves in the right direction, then I'm happy. So you'll find that 80% of the time they're correct. Sometimes, they're a bit off, and you have to measure them differently per stage. So in my L1, which is my cold traffic, what we're looking at here is saying if I have something that says, okay, is bad ROAS and my NCAC is going up, that's good. A 20% decrease in ROAS may not be DEFCON 1 for you. An 85% increase in NCAC should be. So there's some, that's okay, but this is what is hurting us now. Like this right now is something that we tested further.
Yeah.
And it's not really working.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm Switzerland over here. Great. Red is bad. Okay. Now, flip side to that though is sometimes you get things that go more wrong. So like this one says, hey, you stuck a large amount of cost increase into this one ad here.
Right.
And now this is one of our best, it is actually the best performing ad. And in terms of volume, 10 grand to $167 doesn't really count. But when you look at this one, it says, oh no, it's getting a bit worse because this is going to be kind of more split attribution.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. But what we're actually saying is, no, I can spike up new visits at the same rate of cost because my effective cost per new visit has gone down. So I'm putting 16% in, getting 12% out, and at a more higher efficiency. I don't care what that says, really. I mean, like it's like, oh, it's getting a little bit worse. Like, no, it's actually literally the best performing ad. And I'm actually going to double down on this ad spend, which is different than what you see if ROAS goes down 2%. Your first initial thought is double the budget. If I see though my NCAC is going down with a 15% increase, I'm like, put 50% more, maybe double the budget, depending upon how much you're spending on it.
Right.
So those decisions that you're making is if it's ROAS or in-app based, you're relying solely on one singular source of truth that's kind of sometimes designed to do nothing but give you more or mislead you to spending more money. Now they'll try to reward you, but those 30% inefficiencies are all the reasons why I can't scale is because of that.